Sort of stalled.
Good morning, Sunday Assemblers across the world. Welcome to our first Sunday Assembly Nashville online version of our monthly meeting. We've done our homework. I think it's just going to be great, splendid, capital, keen, killer, peachy, bang up, sterling, goodly, above par, blue chip, all wool and a yard wide, primo, of the best sort, Marvy, and bitchin'.
Stephen, have you been reading your thesaurus again?
Yes. Affirmative. Surely. Right on, Roger Dodger, amen. Most assuredly, wee, and you bet your ass. Here we go.
Did you see my eye roll, or should I say nay roll?
Nay roll. Ow. Underneath our colors, our customs and our creeds, and all the nationalities we claim. We're sisters and we're brothers, it's time we all agree. Not as different as we are the same. We don't have forever, let's all come together. Today is the day, this is the place. We are the new congregation. We'll keep all the best, let go of the rest. This is a true celebration of life, the one that we know we have. So let's try to make it the best we can. Join in the song, this is where you belong. We are the new congregation. There's a welcome for the misfit, helping hands for those in need, and revelry to keep our spirits high. No deity, no doctrine, we're letting our hearts beat to the sweet here and now, not by and by. We're denouncing the divisions of yesterday's religions. Today is the day, this is the place. We are the new congregation. We'll keep all the best, let go of the rest. This is a true celebration of life, one that we know we have. So let's try to make it the best we can. Join in the song, this is where you belong. We are the new congregation. We're breaking down the walls that separate us and finding out a better life awaits us. Today is the day, this is the place. We are the new congregation. We keep all the best, let go of the rest. This is a true celebration of life, the one that we know we have. So let's try to make it the best we can. Join in the song, this is where you belong. We are the new congregation.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Sunday Assembly Nashville. So excited to have you join us today. I hope you are joining us live on YouTube. We've worked hard to try to make this a reality, and really looking forward to spending the next 45 minutes or so with you. For those of you who are not familiar with Sunday Assembly, we are a secular congregation that celebrates life. We have a really simple motto. Our motto is live better, help often, wonder more. Our vision is to have a Sunday assembly in every town, village, city that wants one. And thanks to what's going on today, it looks like we have that opportunity. We're radically inclusive. We don't have any doctrine or deity. We're not going to tell you you're wrong if you do. Everyone is welcome here. And our goal is to have you live life, help you live life as fully as possible. My name is Adam Newton. I'm part of Sunday Assembly Nashville. I'm coming to you from my home in Nashville, Tennessee, as all of the individuals who you're going to hear from today. But we're a worldwide organization. In addition to Nashville, there's, I think, 50 or so Sunday assemblies across the globe, everywhere from the first original one in London to New Zealand and Silicon Valley and everywhere in between. And across the globe, it's 100% volunteer organization. Nobody's paid to do this. We just do it for the opportunity to live life together in this way. So how Sunday Assembly works, just to give you a quick breakdown, is that every single month we get together and do something like this. And each Sunday Assembly around the world gets together. We'll talk about that in a second. But in addition to the big Sunday Assembly event, we always have monthly volunteer events, monthly social events, small groups that we call SMOOPs. And again, opportunities to connect both with local and individuals who are, who understand and are cool with our message. It's different now, right? Because we're all in quarantine. We don't have that opportunity to come together and see each other at least once a month, if not more. And that's some of the things that we're going to tackle today in the context of this Sunday Assembly. So let me real quickly break down the order of events and how Sunday Assemblies work. My name is Adam Newton. I am your host and your MC today. My main job is to make sure that we get through this process in a way that is hopefully fun, engaging, and relatively on time. There is a reader, someone who will come on and read from a selected work. We have a speaker who will talk for about 15 minutes about a particular topic. We'll have an individual or individuals come up for a section called Trying My Best, where they get an opportunity to share a little bit about what's going on in their life. And every single Sunday Assembly has a theme. And today's theme is sexual well-being in the time of pandemic. And so, wow, right? Like this is a little bit of a pivot from our initial plan for April, but needless to say, certainly timely for a lot of reasons. Want to give the proper disclaimer. Of course, we think that this is really relevant information. Please be mindful of small ears around you, as we will be discussing topics of various sexual pieces in nature. Nothing, I assure you, that's too graphic. We're going to be focusing on really important things like sexual empowerment, sexual well-being, sexual identity. And so we'll see and explore that throughout. One final thing, and this is probably the most challenging part. We don't get to say hello to you in person, which we normally get to do in the Sunday assemblies when we all get together. So if you're watching this on YouTube Live and you have an opportunity in the comments section, say hello there. Tell us where you're from, where you're watching from. For those of you who are watching or lurking on that page, feel free to comment and respond and say hello. Let's get some virtual highs and hugs and high fives. But without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce our first section, our reading. And our reading today is done by a true force of nature, Brynda Quinn. She is a longtime Sunday Assembly member and a leader of our Sunday Assembly board here in Nashville. She will be reading Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Take it away, Brynda.
Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. That's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellows stand or fall down on their knees. Then they swarm around me, a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes and the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist, the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman. That's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. They try so much, but they can't touch my inner mystery. And when I try to show them, they say they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breasts, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman. That's me. Now you understand just why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. 'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenally, phenomenal woman. That's me.
That was awesome, Brynda. Thank you so much for taking the time to share that from your home. How's everything going in quarantine over there?
Not too bad. I've been home for 3 weeks, and those of you who know what an extrovert I am know that that just sounds crazy, but I'm managing so far, and my cats are loving it. There was actually one on my lap while I was reading that.
I was wondering that because I was going to give a caveat. Not only is there lightning happening in the area right now, but I have 3 dogs who are probably going to be making themselves known audibly by the time this period is done. But we'll see how it goes. But great. Again, thank you so much. Just a couple of quick mentions. We've had some responses on YouTube already. We have people from Ohio, from Reading in the UK. We have London, Gainesville, Florida, and of course, a bunch of people from Nashville. So keep letting us know where you are, and from Kent, UK as well. Super cool. So let's go ahead and transition into today's speaker. The topic today, again, or the theme is sexual well-being in the time of pandemic. I want to introduce to you Kate Turner. Kate is actually a 3-year, has been going with her family to Sunday Assembly for 3 years now. She's a licensed professional counselor and mental health service provider, has a private practice in Midtown here in Nashville. She's registered with the Sexual Therapy Project. She's a sex counselor by Focus, and also part of the Kink and Poly Professionals network, and registered there as well. So she's going to share with us for some time about sexual well-being in the time of pandemic. Kate, so glad to have you. It's all yours.
Thank you so much. I'm not sure if you said I'm registered with the Sexual Therapy Project or if that was just Freudian hearing, but it is the Secular Therapy Project if we need to make that clear.
That's what I meant.
Got it. All right, just to reiterate the little warning that we had in the beginning, I'm going to be discussing sexual well-being today. If that is a conversation that you're not ready to have, or if this is something you don't want to hear about, that's perfectly fine, and now would be a great time to mute me. I should be on here about 15 minutes or so, and then I'll be done. I feel like I've given you enough time. So the people that are still with me, I think now's a good time to get started. All right. So the topic of sexual well-being is pretty vast because it covers all of the cognitive and emotional experiences of your sexuality. I forgot to start my timer. All right, I'm back. Okay, because it's such a vast topic, and I only have about 15 minutes, I really wanted to boil it down to things that are relevant during the pandemic. That seems relevant to me because things are going a little crazy. So life is very different right now. I'm sure everybody is recognizing that. We are social distancing, which means we're further away from each other. That can make us feel kind of disconnected or isolated or lonely. We are also feeling very worried. We have worry for our health, or our children, or our parents. We have worry for our jobs. We have worry for the economy. So anxiety is kind of high right now, and that's totally understandable. On top of that, we are doing day-to-day life very differently. There are things that we're used to doing that we're not doing. Even commuting in Nashville traffic is something that some people can kind of miss because you're missing your podcasts or your music or your alone time. And so with all those things happening and an increase in free time or boredom, life is feeling very different right now for all of us, I think. So you may be wondering, what does sex have to do with this? Or how can a healthy sex life be relevant right now? Why is that something I should even be focused on? And that's a good question, and you should ask good questions. You should also know that having good quality sex is grounding, and it gives you a sense of calm, and it decreases anxiety. It does a lot of good things for your physical well-being and your mental well-being, and it's physical exercise. Gyms are closed, sports are canceled. We're not walking around the office to see each other, so we could all probably use a little bit more physical activity at this point. You should know too that studies have indicated that there's a positive correlation between a healthy sex life and sexual pleasure and mental well-being and physical well-being. So they're all kind of tied in together, which is not really surprising. So today I'm going to go over 3 different approaches to sexual activity. One of them is physical sex, where you are having actual contact with the person or your partner. The second one's going to be virtual sex, where there's not physical contact. And the third is going to be solo sexual activities and self-care. So I'm going to start you off here with the most obvious statement that I'm going to make today. Having sex with another person right now puts you at risk for spreading or contracting COVID-19. It's not a sexually transmitted disease, but it is transmitted through saliva, and even if we're breathing too close to each other, and we just don't know enough about it. So it's safe to say that your only safe bet is going to be to have sex with people with whom you are in quarantine or social distance. Now's not a really good time to get a new sexual partner. As we all know, if you have no symptoms of COVID-19, you are still able to spread the virus. So we need to be really careful. And speaking of being really careful, this is just my opinion, but you may want to be doubling down on birth control options right now. Getting pregnant right now might be kind of a hard process, just because there's a lot of doctor's appointments and self-care things that you need to do that may be really difficult at this time. So I would recommend doubling down on that and paying attention to those kinds of choices. Another aspect to consider right now is sex drive. I have a lot of clients who are coming up to me and saying, Kate, I am social distancing, I'm feeling really disconnected from other people, and my stress is through the roof. Sex is the last thing that I want right now. And I need to say, that is totally normal. Stress does that. I have other clients who come in and say, Kate, I'm social distancing right now. I'm not around a lot of people. I'm feeling really disconnected and my stress is through the roof. All I think about is sex. And that's perfectly normal because stress does that too. The problem really comes in when you are having a sex drive that's very different from that of your partner's. That can cause a lot of stress in the relationship. So the best thing I can tell you today is that you should check out Dr. Emily Nagoski's book, Come As You Are. Since we're not having a therapy session right now, that's probably the best thing I can do for you. So if things are going really well with your sexual partners or partner, now would be a really good time to introduce some fun new things. There are a lot of different ways to express yourself sexually with a partner. If you're curious about that, you may want to check out Mojo Upgrade. It's a website, and you can go on this website and go through an exhaustive questionnaire of a lot of different kinks or sexual play techniques or different ideas to bring into the bedroom. And you can say yes to whole categories, or you can say no to whole categories, or you can open up these categories and say yes and no to really specific things or ideas that you'd be willing to try with your partner. When you're done, it sends a link to your partner and they do the same thing. Then Mojo Upgrade will only show you what both of you have said yes to. So it can be a really good way to bring up something that might be difficult to bring up otherwise. And then you have a whole list of fun things that you could do together, which is definitely going to decrease that boredom we mentioned earlier. It's going to give you a lot of excuses for physical activity, and it's going to decrease stress in other ways too. So that might be a fun thing you want to try right now. All right. What if you don't have safe access to a sexual partner right now? The way I see it, you have two options. You can take the virtual route, or you can participate in solo sexual activities. If you want to do the virtual route, the biggest thing that I keep remembering is the advice I got when I was a teen on the internet, which is, this is my dad voice. Anything you put online, you need to assume it will be there forever. It was very stern. Now that I'm adult, I have no idea if that's true. I don't know anything about the technology behind that, but it feels like the safest assumption that you can make at this point. If you're going to engage in sexual activity, if you're going to take pictures of yourself or video of yourself and post that information, just assume that anything that you put online, you want to be careful about. You should know too, as we talk about this virtual experience, I am including phone sex. So my first recommendation is a very sexy one. You need to update your software. As my friend put it last night, you need to update your software so no one sees your hardware. And this is what we mean. I want you to update the software on your phone, your tablet, or your computer, or whatever device you're using to experience sexuality in this way. Updating your software is going to get you the most recent security and safety features. And it's going to make it harder for people to come into your conversations and sneak in and see your camera. We don't want anybody seeing your naked body without consent. And while we're on the topic of this kind of privacy and I think you need to update your passwords as well. A lot of us have been using the same passwords for everything and for a long time, and the same password you've been using since middle school is not going to cut it for something that you are using for sexual activity. You want to be safe. You want to be smart. So update your passwords as well. All right. Once you feel like your devices are safe, it's time to consider what programs or apps you're using. So you're going to want to look for things with end-to-end encryption. That's just going to make it harder for people to sneak in. Again, it's about safety. It's about your security. From what I understand, Signal, Viber, and WhatsApp are all end-to-end encrypted services that have video communication. So those are things you're going to want to look into. Consent is always relevant in every conversation that we have about sex. And that goes for this conversation too. So if you choose to have cyber sex in any way, please have a conversation with your partner about your specific expectations and your boundaries. There's a lot of recording software out there and you may not know that it's being used. So these kinds of conversations are really important to have before you engage in sexual activity. All right, what if you don't know how to have cyber sex? There are a lot of creative ways to express yourself online or with technology. You may decide to have some dirty talk on the phone, or even try some breath play. You can talk each other through sexual acts that you've liked performed on you or your partner. You can send images or videos, or you can video chat. As long as consent and safety come first, you can get pretty creative with all of this. This is a good time for me to note, if you are under 18, you cannot consent to this kind of stuff. Creating any material of anyone under 18 is creating illegal material and you will get in big trouble. That's really important to remember for those of you who are under 18. So expanding avenues for your sexual expression is just going to be one approach to increasing sexual well-being. If you are uncomfortable with cyber sex or you don't have any partners with whom to experience this outlet, you can engage in solo sexual activity. Though masturbation is part of this category, it's not your only option. There's a lot of sexual self-care that you can do by yourself. There are a ton of really normal day-to-day things that we do that count towards sexual self-care. And I wouldn't be surprised if many of those things are not happening right now. When we go long periods of time without leaving the house or without seeing other people, we tend to stop doing the pampering and preparation that we normally do. So sometimes shaving, wearing nice outfits, wearing makeup, or doing your hair makes us feel sexy and confident. And a lot of those things aren't happening today. I know, because I've seen you on Zoom. So if you feel like you're not feeling very sexy right now, this is the low-hanging fruit. You might want to take a nice bath or a long shower or shave or get dressed like all the way, not just from the waist up. I am right. Yeah. So even if you're just getting dressed up for yourself, that's reason enough to do it. If it's going to make you feel good and sexy, that's sexual self-care, and it's just the easy stuff that you can do. If you want to do something that's more of a sexual self-care activity, you can try gratitude. Since we're not sharing a public space right now and you're all home and you have some privacy, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I want you to just think about them. Think about the answers and think about how the questions hit you. What do you like about your sexuality? What are some sexual things that you've done that brought you joy? What gifts has your body given you? These are all questions that can start you on a journey of sexual self-care. They could be journal entries, they could be conversations, they could be meditations. Whatever you think you're going to use would be great. If you want a sexual wellness activity that's more physical, you can try pelvic floor exercises. Your Kegel muscle can be exercised fairly easily, and the benefits are pretty substantial. They include better bladder control and better orgasms. To do a Kegel muscle exercise, flex the muscle that helps you stop peeing, and then hold it for 3 seconds and relax the muscle. You do that 10 times. If you do that exercise 2 or 3 times a day, you're going to be experiencing, sorry, it's really storming. You're going to be experiencing stronger muscles, better control of your body, and hopefully when we get out of all this, better sex. My last resource that I'll quickly go over is Dr. Jill Mcdevitt. She's awesome. She is a sexologist that I follow across multiple platforms. So if you want to take this time away from distractions to focus on your sexual well-being with a professional, Dr. Jill is a great resource. She's a sexual wellness coach and educator. I've taken one of her sexual self-care courses, and it was really great. She can be found on Instagram at sexdocjill or on her website, thesexologist.org. I'm going to be including some links for Clayton to add to the YouTube description if you'd like to further investigate anything that we've talked about today. I have just a few minutes left, and I did have some questions that were given to me beforehand that I think I can go over, maybe 2 of them. Let's see. How does this topic apply to my kids and my family? So sexual well-being is applicable throughout the lifespan, the whole lifespan, not just during the years that you're going to be making babies. This is applicable to lots of people. It includes things like bodily autonomy and consent, sex education, regular self-care and self-love. And if you haven't had conversations with your children about sex yet, now's a great time because they can't leave the house. So you have a captive audience. Let's see. What are your thoughts on using pornography? I have a lot of thoughts on it. So the biggest thing that comes up for me is that you can't always tell if pornography was made consensually, and that's fairly problematic. If you have found pornography that you have reason to believe is consensual, then I don't have a problem with people using it. I once heard it put, you wouldn't use the Fast and Furious movies to learn how to drive. In the same way, you don't use pornography to learn how to have sex. It is for entertainment purposes only. So if you can have a healthy relationship with it, I don't see it as very problematic, which is all I'll say about it with my time constraint. How is sexual well-being during a pandemic different from sexual well-being when there isn't a pandemic? I feel like we covered that pretty well today. Basically, life is completely different right now. So we have to watch our social distancing. So we can't be near a lot of people to get new sexual partners. So that can be difficult. A lot of the things we normally do for self-care are not happening, and that can be difficult. And our stress is really high, and that impacts our sexual well-being as well. So my hope for you all today is that you're taking time to check in with your sexual well-being, because it's important and it's good for your overall health. You deserve to have a positive and pleasurable sex life. Besides, what else are you going to be doing right now? Adam?
Kate, thank you so much. That was an incredible talk and topic, and found a lot of relevance to it. The good thing was that Kate and I talked about this a couple of weeks back, and she was originally scheduled to speak at our April Sunday Assembly about a little bit more specific topic, and specifically sexual shame. Obviously, when we decided to do this digitally, the conversation shifted a lot. And so for Kate to do this for us, again, very much appreciative. That was awesome. So now let's go ahead and take what we all call a minute of mindfulness here at Sunday Assembly. Really, for all intents and purposes, this is just a moment for us to be still and quiet and introspective about wherever and whatever we want to during that time. I'm just going to introduce it off while we go ahead and provide some words as we speak a little bit, but to just focus ourselves. But let's go ahead and take that minute of mindfulness together. Obviously, try to slow your breath to slow yourself, to calm yourself, and take a nice deep breath in. And slowly exhale all of the way. Continue to do that until you find your place of comfort and stability, and feel however you'd like to about the conversation and the topic, thinking about the theme of today and such. And as the thunder rolls in here to Lebanon, Tennessee, we'll go ahead and turn it back over to the virtual version of the Unnamed Assembly Band, Stephen in Georgia, take it away with the song Reason.
Thank you, Adam. This song incorporates all three of the major tenets of the Sunday Assembly: live better, help often, wonder more. It's called Reasons.
Wish you were singing with us.
A one, a two. Oh, yeah. A 1, 2, 3. Hey, you. Understand why you were hiding. It's more than a few. Stay in the shadows. Hey, you. People see that you are human. There'll be more than a few who will step out with you. It's all up to us. It's all up to us. And hey, if you ever need a reason to live better, I've got a reason for you. And hey, if you ever need a reason better, reason simply true. It's a good thing to do. can take it all for granted. There's only a few who have more than needed. It's true that there's too many defeated, and there's only a few who will help the helpless. It's all up to us. It's all up to us. And hey, if you ever need a reason to help someone, I've got a reason for you. And hey, if you ever need a reason to help someone, the reason simple and true. It's the good thing to do. Just look into the sky and you'll see why we keep on looking. Open up your eyes and you'll see why we keep on seeking. Hey, if you ever need a reason to wonder, got a reason for you. And hey, if you ever need a reason to wonder, reason simple and true. Hey, if you ever need a reason to live better, help someone to wonder, the reason simple and true. It's a good thing to do. Hey,
That was amazing. My dogs are so excited to sing along with you right now, too. So thanks, Stephen and Georgia and the virtual Sunday Assembly band. So the next part of today's Sunday Assembly is our Trying My Best. And this is often one of our attendees' most favorite sections because it's an opportunity for someone that's part of our community, and in today's case, two individuals who get to share something personal about their lives and their experience and how they're trying my best. As many of you, if not all of you know, Sunday Assembly is radically inclusive. There's no doctrine and no deity. So we have lots of individuals from various backgrounds that find connection within Sunday Assembly. Today, Bethany and Stephen are going to join us from McMinnville, Tennessee, which is the nursery capital of the world. So we're very privileged in that today. But needless to say, Bethany and Stephen have been part of our community as their family for a couple of years now. So would love to hear from Bethany and Stephen how they're trying my best today.
Hey, thanks, Adam. And like I said, or he just said, my name is Bethany. And as a teenager in the late 90s and the early 2000s, I grew up in the evangelical purity culture movement, True Love Waits campaign, which is straight out of Nashville, out of Lifeway. I just learned that a few days ago. So True Love Waits encouraged purity rings and purity pledges to remain abstinent until marriage. Scripture was used to keep us in line, and I even had an accountability partner. As a young girl, I was encouraged to not be a stumbling block to other young boys by dressing modestly at all times, for example. Fast forward to my 20s, when I was interested in sex, I had to visit a health department to get birth control, since my parents were against premarital sex. I stashed my pills in my locker at work for about a year until we finally got married. My mom was clueless to what was really going on and tried to give me a sex talk, complete with a Christian how-to type of book. And she believes to this day, and probably not now, that we did things the right way. So our marriage would be proverbial blessed by God. But purity culture shames normal sexual behavior and limits sexual experience. I still struggle with regret at times, but over time, that has really decreased since, deconverting and leaving my faith all behind. But my husband also has an interesting purity culture type of twist to his story. So I'm going to let him talk about his story.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen. I'm Bethany's husband. I would first like to say that this is my favorite segment of Sunday Assembly. It's by far the most. It's when we all get to hear about real life struggle and or perseverance. Truth is, we all need encouragement because we would all be fooling ourselves thinking we have it all figured out and together. So, what does identity mean? Google says the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. From this, we can take it to mean that sexual identity relates to what a person identifies as sexually. This relates to me because as of May of last year, Memorial Day week to be exact, I met someone, a guy, yes, whom I thought was flirting with me very, very hard. I came to understand that that was simply his personality. However, that brief week that I was around him changed the way I viewed my sexuality. When the next week came and I knew I wouldn't see him, it felt as if the universe had exploded in my head. I could no longer deny the fact that I am bisexual. It took a couple of weeks for me to work up the courage to tell my wife. We both came from purity culture backgrounds, and everything about sex before marriage, promiscuity, and lying with the same sex was a surefire way, pardon the pun, to hell. To my relief, she was very understanding and sympathetic to my newfound situation. I am fortunate because many in this position do not have this kind of support. I had known for sure about my preference since the ninth grade, but kept it invisible to everyone else around me. Whether it was out of fear or shame, I'm glad that that cloud is now lifted. My father passed away 6 years ago and never knew this side of me. I'm not sure if he would have supported it 100%, but I know he would have still loved me. My brothers and I currently avoid the subject as I think it makes them uncomfortable. But it's okay as long as I'm comfortable in my own skin, and I am. My mother cried when I told her. I asked if she was ashamed of me, but she said that she just didn't know what to say. I told her all I needed to hear was, I love you. And she said that without hesitation. Everything else beyond that point would have been a complication or an opinion. For the record, I never thought I would catch my wife and I talking about how hot a guy is we both like. It's pretty funny, actually. Bethany encouraged me to pursue relationships with men as long as they were safe and consensual. I have already experienced a couple relationships with guys that are pretty rocky. And folks, we all know with dating services like Grindr, usually what you see is what you get, and you can get a whole lot of crazy if you're not careful. I believe it is most people's purpose to violate boundaries in these situations now. As you see, my wife and I are all each other have ever known sexually. That is a good thing, but I have also found it can be quite damaging. Since neither of us played the field in high school or college days, we lack that experience. And I'm not dogging those who have been around. Conservatively speaking, it is known as being promiscuous. However, this paints the whole process in a bad light because it is how most people learn their preferences, their tolerances, and most dislikes and what they will put up with in a relationship or a fling. It is the experience under your belt, literally. I went to my first ever Pride Parade in Murfreesboro, Tennessee in September of last year. I didn't know what to expect, and my wife and I honestly skipped our 15-year class reunion for it. I must say, however, that it was very well worth it. I met countless nice people and got some really cool swag along the way. It was very encouraging to see people so comfortable and free. There was a major religious organization there that was protesting. From that, I had one thing made clear to me, that I wanted my children to grow up on the opposing side of the megaphone. I didn't want my children to, I wanted them to grow up on the side of love and acceptance instead of intolerance and hate. Sunday Assembly has meant a lot to our family because we were able to finally be ourselves. It has meant a lot to me because I could be myself without retribution. Although I'm still a work in progress, we all have a light to shine, and I'm glad I've allowed myself to let it get brighter every day. Back to you, Adam.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Bethany and Stephen. That takes a lot of courage to talk about those things, not only to us and to your friends, but to each other. And I understand that journey, and that'll be a story for another day. But again, so grateful for you both, and thanks for being part of this and just Sunday Assembly as a whole. So we're almost there, guys. And again, thank you so much for your participation. I am told, although I have no direct access to it, that the YouTube comments keep coming from people all over the place. So we're really grateful for that. This is the new normal for us moving forward until something of clarity comes to light. And I was really excited in helping to coordinate this with the team. Because I think because of the individuals that work within Sunday Assembly, both internationally and here in Nashville, are so committed to bringing community, secular community together in ways that we're built for. And so the opportunity to share this not only with our Nashville friends, but from people throughout the world is really wonderful. And I don't know that if it needs more explanation. This topic of sexual well-being is a difficult one, not only to summarize, but to provide any sort of relevant counsel. Kate was amazing because she's qualified to do that, and I want to encourage you to take a look at the resources that she posted in the comments page. Some of the things that she mentioned today, but make sure you're safe, make sure you're well. And I think we can make the best of it digitally until we see each other again. So that'll be my closing thought as we turn over into our just a quick section of announcements and acknowledgments, and then we'll close it out with one more song. I'm going to do acknowledgments first because, again, I think that this is something that we were very excited and very nervous together to try to pull off. Tom, as far as helping us with all of the marketing and advertising and communication, Loie for all of the visuals that you see here, Clayton running our YouTube live, and Jason running all of the technical behind the scenes, Stephen, Georgia, and the virtual unnamed assembly band, Brynda, Brittany, and Bethany, and Stephen and Kate as well. Thank you all so much for taking all of the time and effort today. We are a virtual organization, and we are 100% volunteer, and we still, however, need donations to help us run and operate. Normally, when we do meet together, we have expenses for the meeting space and help often events and things of that nature. Many of the individuals who are connected to Sunday Assembly and Sunday Assembly Nashville donate online. You can go on to PayPal, you can go to our website, sundayassembly.nashville.com. You can elect to be a monthly member. We get you a cool green name tag when we actually get to see you again. But that's the way to help us sustain and continue to do that. So please keep that in mind. Go to sundayassembly.nashville.com to check us out and make a donation there if you can. As far as the help often and the volunteer events that exist within the Sunday Assembly Nashville, the organization has some amazing volunteers, as you can see on the screen here. Specifically, I want to reintroduce Kate Turner, who is our help often chair. She helps organize our events, and Kate, has a announcement about some of the upcoming things that are happening there. So can I turn it back over to you, Kate?
I am ready. So normally I like to lead a monthly donation drive. We've done a lot of great things so far. April was supposed to be a diaper drive for the Nashville Diaper Pantry. If you are planning on coming to our April assembly and you have some diapers to donate, please hang on to those. Or if you know someone or see someone in our Sunday assembly and you're watching and you don't normally come, you can get diapers to our friends for Sunday assembly. We will take those, and I will take those donations and organize that once we all are together again and can meet. In the meantime, instead of a donation drive, in an effort to help often, I would like for all of you to just be encouraging to other people. Check in on your friends who are maybe a little extroverted because we're not okay. Check in on your introverted friends. They might not be okay. Check in on people with kids running and screaming through the house. Check in on people who maybe don't have kids to play with and enjoy this time. We really need to check on each other right now and just be conscious about the emotions that you're spreading and the love that you're sharing. So instead of a donation drive, I just want to encourage you to reach out. Adam?
Thanks again, Kate. All right, so let's talk about what's next. As we get ready to close out for our song, we will do this again next month. We're so grateful for everybody being able to put it together. There'll be a new theme, there'll be a new speaker, there'll be a new reading, new trying my best, probably a new host. But anyway, we'll give it an opportunity to do this again. So please spread the news. If you're not already connected to us on our social media channels, please do so. You see the information here on the screen. Notice on Facebook that in addition to our public Sunday Assembly Nashville page, there's also the secret Sunday Assembly Nashville page, which you have to be let in, so to speak, but it's an opportunity, a little bit more safe place for individuals. But find us on Meetup, and again, stay connected to us. Remember, again, Sunday Assembly is a global organization, and if you connect with what we're doing here and you want to see how other cities across the world are doing this, I think we actually have 4 Sunday Assemblies in different parts of the world that are doing this today, and we're going to continue to grow and do it more. And there's also cool events going on. So, for example, today, this afternoon, Sunday Assembly Los Angeles is doing a virtual fashion show. I bet you can find that information out there if you go to the Facebooks on Sunday Assembly LA. There's also, for anybody who is connected with the Sunday Assembly Nashville group, a board meeting on Saturday, and they are always, we're led by a great board. But anyway, thank you so much for taking all the time. I am going to turn it over to Stephen and Georgia and the virtual Unnamed Assembly Band to send us off. But thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful Sunday. Stay connected, and we love you. Talk to you soon.
Before Georgia and Stephen, one more thing, which is we're going to do middle ground online. To tell you the truth, I wasn't sure this would work, so I was being a big chicken. But now I think we should do middle ground on WebEx, so details will be posted. Okay.
Sweet.
Sorry, Georgia and Stephen.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for coming, joining us.
Gonna close it out with the easy to sing one. Simple chorus. I believe in good. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe in good. Oh, I believe in good. I believe in being good and doing good just for goodness sake. Good makes the whole world better. Good is great, and I believe in harmony. Respect for all humanity. I believe that we will find the only truth we need. Living this one life by this one creed. I believe in good. Once more through. Sing along. I believe in good. Oh, I believe in good. I believe in being good and doing good just for goodness sake. Good makes the whole world better. Good is great, and I believe in harmony. Respect for all humanity. I believe that we will find the only truth we need. Living this one life by this one creed. I believe in good. I believe in good. I believe in good. I believe in good. See you in a month.
Everybody still out there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. All right.
YouTube has
Well,
stopped.
hey, I don't know. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's what I was confirming
So,
with Quinn. YouTube is out. We had a short outro song there, so we're good.
Yeah.
I also